Okay, you guys, I'm in the upstairs area right now, the portion of the house. Um, there is a bit of debris in the carpeting, which, pretty much emphasizes the need for pre-vacuum. I know a lot of guys try to get away without pre-vacuuming. I mean, even if the carpets look like they're pristine and clean, there's a bunch of debris that's in there. So if you're running a CRB machine in in a restoration sort of cleaning environment where you're going to be doing that instead of the hot water extraction, I recommend doing that in scenarios that you have previously done a hot water extraction in before, just so that you know what the soil accumulation of the carpets actually are, because just taking a hunch and a guess and thinking that the carpets are clean and going ahead and running a CRB on them because you're wanting to take the easy route is not necessarily the best way to go about doing that, because there could be tons of debris accumulation built up in the carpeting, and like in here it's very obvious in this place, but we'll go through the rest of the house as we go along. Again, we're probably going to easily get a full Kirby bag of debris out of this place. So, yeah, it's pre-vacuum, pre-vacuum, pre-vacuum. Get that dry soil, as much of it out of there as possible, because I guarantee you a lot of this stuff won't even fit through the opening of your wand, so you're not even going to be able to suck it up unless you're... one thing I do is I pull the hose off my wand and I do a quick suck around the edge, because there's debris that obviously your equipment and vacuum cleaner and wand are not going to get because it's too close to the edge. And so that is a very good safety precaution to make, just to pick up that extra debris. And that's also the leading cause of filtration lines. In here I don't really see any too bad, but that's just because your vacuum doesn't get close to that edge. Airborne particles flying around the room hit the wall and drop to the floor, and then they drop straight down along that edge. And because of it, regular vacuuming does not get along there. You can prevent filtration lines. If the homeowner was vacuuming, just took a crevice tool and run along the edges, but that's generally too much to ask for someone to do that, especially if they're not aware of what's actually causing those filtration lines. And it's because they're not taking a crevice tool to the edges. If they did that every time they vacuumed, there would be absolutely no filtration lines anywhere. But hey, we're carpet cleaners. We're supposed to be professional. We're supposed to know exactly what causes everything, and that's what causes filtration lines is, again, dust hitting the walls and dropping to the floor. There are other contributing factors such as drafts and stuff like that, and poor craftsmanship in the design of the floors and the walls, which were very common in the early 70s. You don't see them as much anymore because of codes and regulations, but that was just a part of what the issue is. The real issue was the debris landing there, which could easily be prevented with regular vacuuming. Okay, you guys, I just did a pre-vacuum in here, spending a bit of time on the pre-vacuum, but as you can see, I went around all the edges, and the Kirby vacuum cleaner actually does a pretty decent job of picking stuff up along the edges. There are still little things down there along the edge that, when I do our steam cleaning with a wand, I'll just pull the hose off and do a quick edge, as I'm going by, and that picks it all up and removes dust and things that accumulate down there and prevents filtration lines. Alright, you guys, this concludes our pre-vacuum. As you can see, took along the edge. I did a very thorough job. One thing about pre-vacuum, what it does, it literally takes me twice as long to clean carpets compared to anybody else, because I spent a whole probably 45 minutes to an hour just pre-vacuuming this house. Now, what was that able to accomplish? This curry bag is more than all the way full. I mean, it is completely stuffed with debris. And I'm willing to bet that there's no carpet cleaning wand out there that's going to be picking up all that debris that we just got out with our pre-vacuum. And if you come to think about it, you put down your pre-spray solution, it's going to be absolutely diluted out and weakened by all that mud. I mean, you're turning your pre-spray and everything into mud in the carpets, and you're weakening the potential that your pre-spray has of breaking the bonds between dirt and carpet fibers at that point, because you're basically getting half strength of your solution or less. Also, when you go and you do your steam cleaning extraction, whether you're on a portable or a truck unit, you're rinsing the carpets with water, hot water. You're turning it to mud. How much of that are you actually rinsing out of the carpets when you're going through? On average, I believe the statistics is about 45 to 65% of that dirty water used to rinse the carpet actually remains in the carpets. So you're rinsing the carpets with dirty water and you're leaving dirty water in the carpets. So you guys, good dry debris removal, thorough rinsing, dry pass when you're going through. Get that dirt out of the carpets. Don't fall victim to statistics, because that's what cheap carpet cleaning does. Alright, I also have this area rug the customer wants done. It's wool, and I should have started the video earlier, because underneath the rug there were piles and piles of sand and debris. What happens, debris lands on the surface, it drops through the surface of the carpeting, especially with the backing like this. It's very open, air moves through it, and it drops right to the floor. The other issue, you can see dog urine all over it. On a hardwood floor, it is very difficult to treat something like this adequately, because you're going to be getting a ton of overspray, and you're going to be getting the floors all wet. You don't want to be laying these things out typically on the carpet and cleaning them, because area rugs and other such things could potentially leak dyes onto the carpeting, and then you've just created a big mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this up, clean up my garage on the concrete floor. That way I can have at it. This thing definitely needs to be saturated with a very good urine treatment on the back side. Probably front and back. We'll probably put enough on it to saturate the entire thing. Let that sit for 45 minutes or so, just to get a real good in-depth release of all those salts and things that are accumulated or associated with the urine, and steam it all out real good. Treat it with a good, probably use a peroxide-based solution to clean this up, because of all the organic mess in there. Plus, if you use like a peroxide-based solution, encapsulation solution, it contains 0 soap residues anyways, and it is neutralizing the carpet. So in most cases it eliminates the need for an acid rinse, or as much acid rinse as you would typically use. So it really cuts that down and prevents resoiling and wicking from occurring. This area rug here, it looks very small, very easy to clean. However, this is a foreign-made area rug, which means that they are problematic for coloring and dye release. So they could bleed while you are cleaning them. So usually, if I know that something is foreign-made, I don't even touch it, just because I'm not in the business of buying area rugs. As small as this is like a $500 rug, so I ain't going to bother touching it. I gave it a good vacuum, there was a bunch of soil accumulation under this rug as well, but I don't want to cause any problems with it. Alright, so as I am waiting for the water to fill up, I'm going to go over the chemistry of what we're going to use. What we're going to be doing is a little bit of peroxide-based encapsulation solution, and I also mix in some stuff for grease removal, just for the petroleum and stuff as well. That's one thing you can do with vac away products, is that you can mix and match the solutions to kind of to match the chemistry of the working conditions that you're working in. Mainly, we just have a whole bunch of organic stuff, so that's pretty much why we're sticking with the peroxide-based solutions. But we do want to account for any soiling occurred to petroleum products that may have been brought in from outside. So that's the point for putting a little bit of grease hog in there. Now, if we were dealing with like a ton of food, restaurant style, we'll probably use something like the Vacaway's hot knife product, which is specifically formulated for high food grease. But we're not really dealing with that. We're dealing more like with spills, red wine, possibly juice and soda and those sort of things. So our peroxide-based solution is going to work perfectly in that scenario. I want to point out the red wine that we're coming to, that we're going to treat with our peroxide solution that we have here. I just put in a new bottle because when you make it up, if it's not under pressure, I think it's about 60 pounds of pressure, it will begin to oxidize due to the surrounding air and sunlight and everything, and it will literally turn your product black. It's really weird. Peroxide turns colors on you. And then it just doesn't work, and if you accidentally have some peroxide left in the hose in your lines and you didn't clear it and you go and spray it down, then you just put this black liquid all over the place. And it really needs a lot of rinsing to get that black out. It's really kind of a pain to work with. But anyways, what I always do is I prime my hose. This time I did have some peroxide in there, but it didn't completely oxidize. It may have been due to temperature or something. In the summer it gets really black. It's crazy. But I always spray some in there just to clear the lines and make sure that the product is coming out clear, the right color, and that looks pretty good to me. And we are going to go ahead and treat that area. There is a cat and a dog in this location, so we put our collection reservoirs on to pick all that nasty stuff out of the carpet. And I know that there's going to be a ton of it because that's just the nature when you've got animals. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead, pre-spray that, run over it with our CRB, and kind of give you an idea of what what amazing things peroxide can do on organic spills. I mean, typically red wine, you go, oh no, my carpets are ruined, I gotta get this stuff up as quick as possible. But the thing is, red wine's organic. It can be in that carpet for 5 years and you're still gonna be able to get it out with the same success rate as if it had just spilled. So no issues with organic spills, you guys. You just need the right product, the right tool, and you can do anything. Notice I put the peroxide on there pretty heavy, and you can see it immediately turn the color from a bright red to kind of a grayish color. So now I'm going to take our Brush Pro CRB over here. I'm going to give that guy a good scrubbing, and it should completely disappear. And then when we go through with the steam cleaning through here, it will completely obliterate that spot. There won't be any wicking. It'll be completely out of there. So we just treated it with our peroxide, ran our CRB over it. Even though it looks like the spot's gone, it's really, there's still remnants of wine in there, which is going to need to be rinsed with our hot water extraction. But anyways, you can't see it. It's not there. But that's the magic of peroxide on organic stuff. Actually, you can still kind of see a little bit of the darkness around there, but that's actually more visible through my camera than it is in the sunlight just looking at it with your naked eye. So So there you have organic stain removal using the CRB. But we're going to do our hybrid approach, and we're going to make sure that we follow everything up with our steam cleaning as well. Furniture sliders, you guys. They're about $9 for a 16-pack at Home Depot, so they're literally 60 cents a piece or something like that. Put it under furniture. Effortlessly slide this bad boy around. You'd be amazed at how many carpet cleaners and cleaning, janitorial and stuff in general do not move any furniture because too difficult or whatever, but this is one of those things that causes you to stand out from the crowd, and it's costing you right here maybe a couple bucks to move this guy out of the way. It's up off the carpet. You're not going to get any furniture stain transfer from the this dresser here onto the damp carpeting when we're done. So what I did is I just pre-sprayed this area. We're going to CRB it, and then I'm just going to slide that dresser on over against the wall and then continue on with the rest of the room. So I just made up some of Aqua's P-Radicator product, which is by far the best urine stain odor treatment product that I've ever used, period. Hands down. This canister, probably about $40, but it makes like 16 gallons of product. Very cost effective, and it works very well. It's a granule. It basically has an infinite shelf life, so you're not just making it up and then having to dump any out. But again, it only has like a 20-minute life once you mix it up, so you want to use it right away. So come back over here where we're going to be working. And basically what I'm going to do is we're kind of looking in this specific area right here. So I made up a gallon of the product, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up from the tile of the fireplace right there and to about the corner where the TV cabinet is, and just disperse our entire gallon in this area, which is going to totally saturate the place, but it's going to eradicate anything from the surface down to the backing. And because it was mainly just cat, it's probably just in the carpets. There's pretty much no chance that it went through into the padding and down to the subfloor. So we're just going to treat it really, really well, you guys. Put it down. Let it CRB it and just kind of let it sit for 20-30 minutes. And then, by the time we do our extraction, it will be completely odor-free and eradicated from any salts and things from the urine itself. And it will be 100% sanitized, deodorized, neutralized. Alright, you guys, as soon as you got your hoses in, make sure you run them in from your truck as straight as you possibly can. You don't want any like twists and turns and circles and those sort of things. I'm using two pieces, and you can see down there how the hose is just running from there in a straight line, and I got it as straight as I possibly can through here. When you're doing little loops and turns and stuff, it actually cuts away from your airflow, so it's always best to try to keep it as straight as you possibly can. You guys always tie off your hose when you're coming upstairs, so you don't have to fight gravity, and that prevents unnecessary rubbing. I've got guards here. A lot of guys don't even use guards, but when you got unnecessary rubbing going on, you're going to be chipping paint off of walls and all kinds of stuff, and that's not professional carpet cleaning. So make sure you do everything with intent and purpose. And when you do those two things, you'll hit it head on probably 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time, the customer gives you a little bit of slack when you're on top of your game, because when you remain in constant communication with your customer, they absolutely appreciate that so much, because you're doing something that no one else has done for them. And they are willing to give a little bit of slack when you screw up, as long as you show that you are 100% involved in what's going on. They're going to keep calling you back over and over, you guys. Alright, so I'm coming down the stairways, you guys. The peroxide, like I said, it oxidizes and becomes black. I don't know why. Usually it happens overnight if I have any extras that I try to hold on to, but this happened just a couple hours while I was working. As you can see, I kind of sprayed it out and wasn't paying attention, and it was black, so I just ran out and dumped it out and made up a new batch of peroxide base cleaner. Do a quick walkthrough. Completely finished up the upstairs. We also were extremely thorough and took off our hose and edged all of the corners to get, you know, as much cat hair and debris out as possible. My favorite accomplishment of the day was our red wine stain or spill that was in here. You see, you can slightly see some darkening remnants of it. I might put some stain out. What is it? I used to use the Pro Choice Stain 1, but then I've been switched over to ChemSpec's Stain Exit, which is basically the same thing. It's just a couple dollars cheaper. But looks absolutely beautiful in here. We got all the hair nasties that were along the edge. I mean, there was quite a bit. As you saw, we didn't only fill a Kirby bag up to the full fill line, we actually stuffed the bag completely full. And then after we did the pre-vacuum of stuffing a Kirby bag completely full of debris, we went back with our CRB and completely filled our 2 trays up with more hair and nasties in the carpeting. So this job took exceptionally long time, but this is probably one of the most thorough jobs that I feel extremely good about, you guys. I can feel the difference. Another room over here. But yeah, you know, there are days you do a job and by the time you get done, you're like, man, I feel so good about what I accomplished, and that's the job that I did here today. Finishing up on the stairways, like I said, I just sprayed them and realized that I had some oxidized peroxide solution and it made a mess. It comes right out, but you know, I just have to deal with that. So there's a bit of debris, you guys. So when I come down the stairways and with my tool and extracting, I also break the hose off to go over that bull nose, but then also to cut out the edges, because your tool probably isn't going to get clear up against the edge, especially back here, along over here on the sides. And so I do that on each step. It takes a little bit longer. Some guys do it, some guys don't. The guys that do it are usually extremely fast and sloppy, and even though they do it, they're not doing a great job. You guys take your time and do excellent work, and your customers will rave.